and today we're going to be looking at a scenario where civilization starts over. Let's get into it. This is Season 2, Episode 5 of the series, and we can get right into it. So today we're going to be starting down here in Iberia, where we can see France continue to explore, eventually finally making it past these mountains. And they mainly focus down the Catalonian coastline, as they have theories, knowing their coastline, basically, they have a theory that maybe there's a giant surrounding of water here, and there's just a bunch of coastline or something. But they want to see if they can connect with other nations around the world. Seeing that when they went this direction, they found the yellow team. Now they're theorizing that if they go south, they might be able to go and find any other countries. So what's going to happen is the Catalonian region is going to be fully discovered by France, as this group discovered this river and will be continuing their way down south, eventually, going down the coastline, which is very successful for them right now, as if I can find it. They will also be claiming some land. The lands that they will be claiming will mainly be in the Catalonian region, but they do claim these parts of the mountains. They do also fully claim these two rivers, or these two outputs of these rivers, and they claim the Catalonian coastline, as they also all go ahead and claim the entire Catalonian region. And they start to go down, eventually continuing to explore. But then, this is where they are going to stop, claiming land, at least at around, at this line. It's basically what they're saying. To the people, the people are getting sort of mad at them for expanding. And if I go to the stability layer, we can see that France is, now less stable, as more areas are starting to not like the French country. Finally using that layer for a bit. But the French don't really care as very well. Their theocratic government is supported by the people, but they don't really like how the French are expanding. So they are going to go ahead, and after they get to about this point, about claiming, they will be claiming this final area before they announce to the people, hey, we're not going to expand anymore. And we will allow you guys to break away if we expand anymore. And basically, France says that to the people, but not before taking or claiming a huge chunk of land over here and fully claiming this river. And this makes the government mad. They were kind of forced to, which does make the people a bit more happy and will ramp up their stability a bit more. Yeah, which, they are sort of scared for their stability. But what's going to happen is they are going to go ahead, is another group, the explorationist group, is going to decide we don't want to be a part of France anymore, since the only reason we came down here was to claim land for France. And if we can't claim land for France, then what's our purpose? That makes sense. But they will be going down, basically breaking away from France, which is pretty common in this time, but France doesn't want any people going away. But when they discover that this sort of peninsula thing is here, they will be making their own country, officially forming the Lime Team. As well, this group will be greatly exploring throughout Iberia, discovering this river, and starting their way up, eventually going ahead and making a sort of colony thing on this river, as they claim pretty small territories, but pretty big for them as they just formed. But this country isn't going to stop expanding, as yeah, they do. So they need to expand, and that is what the country looks like so far. Going over here, we can see that the gold team discovers Corsica and Sardinia. That's pretty cool. And the gold team will also be discovering these parts of Africa here. And they don't really want to explore more, so they will just be keeping that. And they don't want to expand since they're in the middle of this war. Speaking of this war, we can see the gold team continue to push back against the yellows, the Slovenians, as well. They are losing a lot of territory. And if we look at the power rankings, the new updated versions, we can see that Greece and Italy won, and first and second strongest countries in the world representatively are together stronger than Slovenia. Italy is stronger than Slovenia just based off this war. This war is absolutely destroying the yellow team, but the yellow team, being an authoritarian regime, is going to, still fight back. As the Oligarchist Rebellion will be capturing this major city and taking a lot of the yellow team's vital river areas, attempting to get a pretty large coastline. As the blue team will also be continuing to expand, attempting to get as much land back as possible. And they will be able to go ahead and claim all of this territory before the Oligarchist Rebellion takes more. As basically the whole Romanian front basically collapses. But the red team is going to continue to do extremely well against them as they go ahead and, continue to go up, capturing these two major cities. Eventually, the Slovenians are about to collapse, and they don't know what to do. But what can they do now? As a new rebellion has just popped up in the capital of Slovenia, and, the yellow team is gone. They're in the trenches. The yellow team has collapsed. But the yellow team is going to still be fighting. As the gold team goes crazy, and guess what? France starts to invade, as they don't like the yellow team, because when they discovered each other, they had some conflict. And they didn't really like that. It kind of got rid of a lot of French people. So the French are going to be invading, and their yellow team is going to be forced into surrender, and we can look at the peace treaty of this multi-episode war. This is the peace treaty of this war. As we can see, we have the province layer here. And this is about to change. Here are the new borders. Firstly, we start with the gold team, as the gold team annexes this part of Italy. Yeah. And the gold team doesn't have the yellow team as a threat. As the red team will be annexing this land, which includes this major city, this one here, and this land, which includes two major cities. That's pretty cool. For the blue team will be annexing a lot of their old lands and taking back some of the major cities. Going for the rebellion, the Oligarchist Rebellion, this is what they look like, and this is their capital. Yeah. Also, France. France will be taking this chunk of land here, and also a new nation will be forming here that looks something like this. And because of the port that's so valuable over here, the yellow team won't be allowed to keep this port around the rivers, so a new country will be formed there. And also one more country, Slovenia, will be the new, which will include the old capital of the yellow team as their capital. Yeah. And the yellow team, if you can tell, is absolutely destroyed by this. And this war has been pretty successful for pretty obvious reasons, if you can't see. With the war being over, we can see that France is going to want to connect their territories. So they're going to go ahead and expand into a bunch of this region and go ahead and colonize more of the Alps area over here. But this is going to greatly lower the stability of, France, as they become an orange color by stability. I'll update this next episode. Yeah. Well, what to do now? There's so much to do. Yeah. How about Egypt? Yeah, Egypt. Egypt is going to be continuing to explore down the Nile River. As they basically go ahead and attempt to get as much land as possible. And they all might possibly become a pretty large powerhouse in the future. Who knows? I don't really know, but what's going to happen is Egypt is going to continue to expand more down the Nile River and claim basically a majority of the lands that they have explored, which, if I can get the color, includes all this, yeah. And they will also be going ahead and claiming this part over here of this area here, the Sinai Peninsula, and also, right after that, we'll be claiming this part of it, and eventually they will just straight up claim the whole peninsula. And Egypt has become a pretty largest-ish nation for the time. Yeah. Going over here to this country, we can see that the purple team continues to greatly explore up these rivers, as they also, with the news of the war being over, they can freely go ahead and expand towards these nations. They also have what they say free will in order to expand a lot more into Ukraine without the yellow team being the giant empire here in order to, like, quote unquote, check on them. Because of this, the purple team is going to be greatly expanding throughout this river and will be making a border with the oligarchist Romanian country. I think that's just what I'm calling it. Oligarchist Romania. Yeah. Or I can just call it Romania. But the purple team is also going to be continuing to expand more and more across these rivers, eventually claiming all this huge chunk of modern Ukrainian territory. And eventually, we can go back to the Dutch country, or just this region as a whole. Get down here. Let's give a check on the Lime country, as the Lime country is going to be exploring the entirety of this river, and eventually they're just going to go ahead and explore this huge part of the Iberian Peninsula. What they'll be doing is they will be discovering more rivers, and eventually finding, well, both mainly exploring across the Iberian Peninsula. They are going crazy at exploring the Iberian Peninsula. Eventually, they will reach the north, where they have to start, like, turning, and, well, they basically go ahead and find France. They find French people, and they will just be going to decide to go ahead and fully explore the Iberian Peninsula. And that's what they do, as the Iberian Peninsula is fully explored. But the Lime team has to expand to survive in this era, as they go ahead and claim a lot of these new coastlines that they've discovered. Like this. Yeah, let me get a better brush size, like that. Yeah. And also this tiny pixel. How annoying is this going to be with Canada? I don't know, but there's like a million pixels here, so I shouldn't worry about that now. But what the Lime team is going to continue doing is exploring around the Iberian Peninsula, as they go ahead and, well, explore and claim a lot of territory, eventually going ahead and, well, doing a lot of stuff with this territory. But these river areas, which are kind of important for the Lime country, don't really like being a part of the Lime country. And the dark purple country is going to break away from the Lime team. And the Lime team doesn't really like this, but what can they do? They're a small country. But because of this, some other northern regions are going to start breaking away as well. As this chunk of the Lime team breaks away from the Lime team, and the Lime team isn't really going to do anything, as they don't really want to fight a war right now. That makes sense. They are a new country, and they don't really want to, like, make the stability lower, but they are currently pretty unstable. But what the Lime team is going to do is going to go ahead and make a border with France. And this is only some French officials, but the French, they expanded. And, well, the French are going to have the stability be lowered a lot more, as now they are one of the most unstable countries in the world. Not as unstable as the yellow team before the war, but, well, that's pretty bad. But France, being an authoritarian nation, is going to strike a deal with these nations in order to, like, claim the Alps mountain range. Slovenia is going to be the first one to get in the action, trying to claim a pretty big chunk in order to make a name for themselves. But the Gold Italians and the French are going to make us a deal in order to divide up this region. And that deal is going to look something like this, as the French take this land and the Gold country takes this land. And, well, the Gold country, now being out of the war, is going to go ahead and fully claim both these islands and start their African expansions. That's pretty cool. But also in Algeria, we can see a new civilization forming. They're just some new humans popping up, but these humans are going to go ahead, and they don't know how close they are to actual civilization. So they are going to quickly go ahead and explore a lot across the Algerian coastline, not knowing that right above them is a few empires. But they are going to eventually establish a nation, and that nation, is going to look something like this. As they first establish their nation down here, and eventually will have their nation look something like this. They would be quick to go ahead and attempt to claim as much territory as possible in order to, well, expand. They are still tribal because they just formed, but they will be able to claim a pretty decent amount of land, actually, as they go ahead and claim this pretty decent chunk of Africa. No, pretty small, actually. Just look at the size of Africa. That's pretty small compared to the whole continent, but still, pretty big for the time. Yeah. Athens, going down here, is becoming one of the most advanced nations in the world. As they are able to go south, they send an expeditionary force south, and they make a landing over here in Libya. They think this is a whole new continent, and they do know, they don't know much, but, well, yeah. They will be exploring. And just to mention, we are getting to about the time where usually every country knows about everybody. So eventually word is going to spread to like Mesopotamia that there's nations over here. Before it was just like they only knew about what they directly contacted with. Like it used to be the red team only knew about like this sort of group. But now they know about a pretty large chunk of the world. As we're getting to kind of like the time where countries are starting to know about each other more. Yeah. But what's going to happen is the Athens nation being probably one of the most advanced nations in the world. This is the longest naval expansion yet in history. But is this the same color? Yeah, it is. I'll just say it is. But Athens is going to be making a colony in Africa. Not really like a colony, but sort of like thing to grow their empire. But they are scared for Greece above. So they're going to be forming an alliance. Oh, and by the way, this alliance expired. But who will they be forming an alliance with? Well, firstly, they will be forming the Star Alliance. But who will they be forming this sort of alliance with? Who would want to join the same alliance as Athens? Oh! I think that just totally ruined the relations between the Gold Italians and Greece. Yep, that definitely did. As now, if the Greeks decide to go ahead and attack Athens or go to Italy, the other one will get involved. And the Red Greeks don't like that at all. Especially since they were just their ally, but what can they really do? The Gold Italians plus Athens would probably be able to beat the Red team. Or would they? Who knows? But Athens colony is going to look something like this. Yeah. There hasn't been anything in Mesopotamia this episode, but let's expand a bit more on these alliances, and let's make a new alliance. The Circle Alliance between this, Mesopotamian nation and this Mesopotamia. Yeah, that's a pretty large thing. And Mesopotamia has announced to their people that, they are going to stop expanding and just take a break to, sort of expand the economy. Which, who knows if that could put them on the top 5 power rankings. That could be pretty cool if they could do that. Yeah. Going over here to the green team, we see something happening in the southern regions. We see rebellion happening of ethnic orange peoples. And this rebellion is only for, this rebellion is happening because the green team is, made up of 2 main ethnicities. The green team ethnicity, which is sort of like the blue team ethnicity, and also the other ethnicity down here. So basically, the people down here still consider themselves part of the orange team, and they want to break away in order to form an independent nation, since in the treaty of this massive war, they didn't let this area come back to the orange team. But so this rebellion is successful, and the green team is going to be forced to let it go. And we can look at what this peace treaty is like. And this is the territory that breaks away. And well, funny enough, the ethnicity of the green team is actually here. Yeah, and I think I might want to actually make an ethnicity map later. But to end off the video, we are going to see these islands be discovered. And well, oh no, why are we in England? Oh no, the French have discovered England. Yep, Yep, that's something. And also, the Dutch country is going to have, like, wait, what? More exploration to Europe. As more countries will also be starting to explore, as the yellow team's explorations have come to a halt, or just a complete stop, as well, I don't think the yellow team is really forbidden to expand much anymore after this war. But what European countries are going to do is they're going to work to explore into Europe, eventually discovering these two rivers. And that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed today's scenario where civilization started over. See you in the next episode. Well, I will be introducing an ethnicity layer. Bye!